What a beautiful, beautiful morning here in central Indiana. I think we're about 60. We're close to 60 right now. We're only going to get about 65 today for the highs, but they're calling for some really high winds and storms later this evening. So I just want to get a couple of things done. I want to prune my roses, my rose wall that I have back there. I'm going to show you how they're looking. Next, I'm going to have to prune those hydrangeas. They are so ready, but I do not have the time right now. Especially, I will not want to prune these guys when, winds are coming and I will have to deal with all the debris. So that's going to have to wait. But I want to show you a couple of things that I have planted here. Hopefully they make it. These are cool flowers that I had extras that I'm just throwing here. Let me show you around and then let's get to the roses. This side of the house, the west side of the house, is looking a little bit different. If you remember that obelisk that my husband made me a couple of years ago, it used to be at the very, very front, right where that water fountain is right now. It was a process to move that fountain. I absolutely love it where it is right now. When we are sitting in the front porch, we hear the water and it's just such a nice feeling. I have a few things that are planted there. Some things are coming back on their own, like some alliums. I think that the alliums that I have here are the gladiator ones. Those are the really, really huge balls. They are coming through. There's still a ways for them to bloom. They probably are going to be blooming in May. Nothing to see there just quite yet. But I do have a bunch of things there. Just some leftovers that I have. Things like yarrow, scabiosa, and foxgloves. I think those are the only three things that I have planted here in this bed. I do have them spaced kind of everywhere, and fingers crossed they will make it here. That gas meter right there, it's such an eyesore, but you actually cannot see it now unless you are up in my garden. The front of the house is kind of raised from the sidewalk, so people only see my beautiful, beautiful boxwood hedge. And I'm hoping that the flowers there are tall enough here in the summer to just block that completely. If you were standing right on the sidewalk looking towards the back of my house, this is what you will see. So I'm not too worried about that gas meter being super visible, but those boxwoods, they really need to be pruned. It has been kind of warm here lately and they're just growing and thriving. But I know that if I prune them this early, if they give me any growth, which is more than likely since it's kind of warm, anything that comes later, like a freeze or snow, is just going to burn the new growth. So I am waiting just a little bit longer. Maybe at the beginning, middle of April, that's when I'll give them their first nice pruning. They don't look that bad, but they definitely are super, super grown. The hydrangea hedge is definitely ready to be pruned. I am going to go super, super heavy on the pruning this year, just like I did last year. That's pretty much how I do it every year anyways. But hopefully I can show you that. Hopefully I can bring you along. My garden still looks kind of messy. I have things and tools and statues everywhere. This is my little lady, as I call it. She is absolutely heavy. And since I am not really quite 100% sure where she's going, she's just laying in there right now underneath the hydrangeas. She's getting some tanning done, but I do have a couple of ideas of where she's going to go. She's just super heavy to move around, and I'm just gonna leave her there for a minute. But the area where I'm going to be working today is where I'm going to be pruning those roses. Those are the Valshiva David Aston roses, and they look amazing, and they're definitely ready for me to prune. I am going to take advantage of this time, and then I am going to clean all the dead perennials and those tulips that you see there coming through. Those are just foliage. Those are just foliage from the tulips that maybe were left over last year that they didn't get time to come back. I didn't want any tulips there this year, but obviously I didn't pick up all of the bulbs, and this is what happens. Sometimes when you wonder, why are my tulips not blooming? Why do I just have foliage? That is why, because something happened. You probably cut the foliage a little bit too soon. the year before and you didn't give the tulips time to just absorb all that energy. I probably have 1 or 2 plants there that have a couple of tulip bulbs or tulip blooms showing, but I'm just going to try to remove the ones that I know are just foliage, and hopefully this bed looks a little bit better because it definitely needs it. As you can see, the roses are already full with sprouts, and normally at the first sign of sprouts is when I like to prune my roses, but these guys are so past that point already. So I'm going to get to it. I'm going to look for dead branches first, and then I'm going to try to see how I can help these roses to look a lot better here. I want to show you something. I have been using these clips, these tomato clips. I think that's what they were called on Amazon, to hold the branches onto the cattle panel. And this is a climbing rose, so it wouldn't help me to keep the branches up or going up. I do want to help the branches go horizontal so that the new growth goes up. So this is a good, I don't want to bend it too much. There we go. That's one. And this guy, even though it's a little grown, I'm just gonna cut it because it's weird how it comes out towards the front. This guy, I'm going to also help it sideways. I am cutting everything that I see that has died. Ouch. Yes, I should be probably wearing gloves for this, but you know how it goes sometimes. So that's one. Yeah, okay. So I am going to hold this guy here. Ouch. I'm going to cut right here. Half of this branch here at the end is dead. So I'm just gonna go and cut some of that. I don't, and even though right now the branches are kind of skinny and I can bend them, I can easily break them too. So I just want to be extra careful. There you go. That's just going to stay there nicely. I'm just going to cut anything that I see that is dead. There we go. So this is pretty much the rose that I have here. I am not a professional in roses, but I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and that helps me understand a little bit how I should be pruning them. And this rose, as it is right now, it looks amazing. It has beautiful, beautiful growth that is just going to, develop nicely throughout the season. So that's pretty much what I am going to do with the rest of the roses here. First, I am going to look for anything that is dead. And then I am going to see if I can help the branches. This branch is gone. And some of you watching may be thinking, well, you need to use some gloves. I know, but having gloves sometimes and having to, it doesn't work for me if I need to go in between branches. And I'm taking my time. I am not in a rush. All right, this bed looks pretty good to me right now. I removed all of the perennials, all of the tulip foliage that were not going to give me any blooms. I tried to dig those tulips as best as I could, but there are some areas where I have the lavender or even next to the roses where I didn't want to dig. So I just pull the foliage and it's going to be fine. I'll deal with it next year if they come back again, which more than likely they will. I have perennials like these perennial mums that are coming back already. They're doing amazing. I cannot believe how well the roses are doing in this spot. They are in the west side of the house, in between houses, so they don't get completely full sun, but they do amazing here. I took care of that lavender. It's really not in the best spot, but it's just going to stay there for right now until I can decide what to do. And in some areas you can see the creeping Jenny. I actually really like it. Some of you warned me that it was going to be taking over this whole bed, and so far, while it's spreading, it's not really too bad. I don't think that it does too bad here. I actually really like it. It's definitely starting to pick up with the wind, and I am going to try to clean up a little bit, a few more perennials, but I do still have a lot of spaces, like little flower spots in my garden where I need to clean up, I need to prune, I need to, clean everything that is not looking alive anymore. And just spending an hour outside, if it's a good day, it's amazing to me how much better the flower beds look like. I hope that you guys are having an amazing spring. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you on the next time.